Namaste all. My name is Dori and today we are going to do some stretches, and then following that we're going to do some yin poses and then some restorative to end the class. So we're going to start in a lying position. So just lie down on your back. Bring maybe your arms forward, palms facing each other. And then we're going to roll down vertebrae by vertebrae to your back. And let's just start by taking some deeper inhalations and exhalations. Maybe you can sigh out through the mouth just a few times to release any tension you might be holding. Just allowing the body and mind to just arrive to the present moment, starting to notice your breath and the pace of your breath. And then maybe you can just gently bring your left hand up onto your chest and the right hand onto your belly. And starting to feel your breath as it moves your body, naturally flowing. Starting to feel the belly rising underneath your right hand. And the chest and shoulders gently broadening under the left hand. Just practicing some complete yoga breathing. As we inhale, we fill up the belly, the rib cage and the chest. And as we exhale, we gently release from the chest, rib cage and then the belly. Just making sure your breath is unforced. You might be jumping into yoga after work, so just allow your body and mind to come into the present moment. Sometimes it takes time to focus and really enjoy the practice, so just come to your breath. Anytime if you feel your mind wanders around what you have to do next at your work or at home, just gently bring it back to the breath. And as we exhale, we're gently lowering our arms down, palms are facing up. Just continue the same breathing. And again, don't worry if your breath is not deep enough just yet. It takes time for the breath to calm down and deepen. And in your next inhalation, we're just going to hug our knees. We're just going to move now, and let's just do some rocking side to side, or you can do some circles with the knees, so you can massage the lower back and the sacrum area. And then as you exhale, releasing your knees, take a big inhalation and reach your arms over your head, reach your legs back, make your body nice and long. And then as you exhale, release and hug your knees again, maybe just doing the still version of the pose, hugging the knees gently as close as possible to your chest. As you inhale again, repeat. Reaching with the fingertips up and with the toes back. And then as you exhale, one more time, hug your knees. And from here we're going to come up into a seated pose, so maybe rocking up or maybe just turn to one side. And then coming into maybe a cross-legged position, or maybe sitting on your heels. You can even sit in a chair if that's more comfortable for you. You can also use some support underneath your sitting bones. And I forgot to tell you, for the yin part of the practice, we're going to use some props. And if you don't have yoga props at home, that's alright, so don't feel discouraged. You can still do the poses. We are always having some modifications where you can just, you know, use your mat, or maybe use some everyday objects from your home. If you don't have yoga props, you may be using a book instead of a block. You may be using a cushion or two instead of a bolster, and then you might have a, you know, an old towel or old piece of clothing if you don't have a blanket, or maybe an old blanket that you can use for yoga. So you can always be a little bit creative and use some everyday objects at home. And of course we are selling props at the center, so if you're needing any props, feel free to get in touch with us so they can help you pick them up if you need some. So let's just get back to our practice now. So finding a comfortable position. Maybe rolling your shoulder away from your ears just a few times. You can keep your eyes closed, so you can still very nicely focus inward. Lengthening through the crown of your head. Just still focusing on the breathing. And then from here we're going to do some stretches, focusing on the neck and shoulder area. So sometimes when you have a headache, sometimes it's because it's coming from tightness in the shoulders and neck, and the next pose is really good to lengthen the neck area, especially if you have some tightness, some blocks. If you feel a headache, this is a wonderful pose to do. So let's just interlace the fingers behind the back of the head and the back of the neck. So you're trying to bring the hands so that you can support your head and the back of the neck. So when we are very gently pressing the back of the head into your hands, you can fully support it with your hands. And then we're going to open our elbows out to the side, making sure the shoulders are not lifted, so gently roll them away from your ears. On the inhalation, we're going to open our elbows, and on the exhalation, we're just going to close our elbows in front of the body, but instead of bowing your head, we are keeping the head and the neck nice and long. So we're only moving the arms, trying to bring the elbows as close as possible in front of your face. As you inhale, again open. And very gently draw your chin in, making sure that there is no shortness in the back of your neck. So we want to keep the neck nice and long. As you exhale, bringing your elbows in again, very gently pressing the back of your head into your hands, lengthening through the neck. Let's just do 2 more. And as you exhale, release. Nice. So now we're going to turn our head over to the left, looking over the left shoulder. And we're going to lift the left arm up and bring the left hand to the back of your head. And on the next exhalation, we're going to gently gaze down towards the left armpit. And at the same time, you're bringing the right hand to the right side, comfortable distance away from your body, pointing with your fingertips over towards the mat. So you're creating this beautiful stretch across your shoulder and neck. But be very gentle on the neck area. Our neck is very sensitive, so we never want to pull our neck with muscle work. It's just a gentle stretch through the breath. As you inhale, coming back. And as you exhale, repeat it on the other side. Now turning over to the right. As you inhale, lengthen. As you exhale, looking down into the right armpit. Pointing your left fingertips over to the left. And as you inhale, coming back to center. Now we're going to do just half circles with the head starting on the left. So turn to the left, and as you exhale, coming over to the right, inhale. And as you exhale, again, doing the circle with the head. One more time. Beautiful. Now we can reach our arms up. We're just going to interlace the fingers and turn our palms up towards the ceiling. Roll the shoulders away from your ears, and as you inhale, lengthen through the arms, lengthen through the spine. Take one more breath here. And as you exhale, release. Now we're going to bring our arms up again, but we're going to bring them into a different position. So we're starting with the left arm forward. So to bring the left arm forward, the right arm behind, and then we're going to cross our arms so that the palms of your hands can come together and you can interlace your fingers. Now try to keep your arms to be in the line of your ears, but if this creates a bit of too much tension in your shoulders, you might just want to bring your arms a little bit forward, closer to your face, so that's all right. But we want to keep the shoulders away from your ears, so you should feel a nice stretch across your arms and your shoulders, and even through the hands. We're going to stay here for 3 more breaths. You can even close down your eyes. Just feel that beautiful stretch. If you feel anything is a bit too much, then you can always go a little bit more gentle, bring your arms a bit forward. Always being mindful how your body is reacting. And then from here we are going to twist over to the right. As you exhale, twisting. Just a gentle twist, looking over to the right. Inhale back, exhale, twisting over to the left. Inhaling back, exhaling, release. You might feel you want to roll your shoulders and shake your wrists a little bit. Feel free to do that until we continue with the next side. So now we're going to bring the right arm forward and the left arm behind, and then again interlacing your fingers. So if you've done the opposite way, then again just bring the opposite arm forward this time. Keep breathing, listening in, feeling that lengthening. One more breath here. And on the exhalation, we're going to start to twist on the left this time. Keep lengthening through the crown of your head. Inhaling back, exhaling over to the other side. Inhaling back, exhaling, release, and again maybe doing a few rolls with the shoulders and with your wrists. And then we're going to do full shoulder rolls now. So maybe just bring your hands into your lap or down beside you. We're going to bring our shoulders first forward and then up, then close to your ears, really high up, and then really nicely rolling them back and down towards the floor. So again, inhaling, bringing them forward and then up. And then exhaling, rolling them away from your ears. One more time. Very nice. Then we're just going to place the left hand to the left side, just maybe 1, 2 or 3 hands distance away from your body, just as you feel comfortable. Just maybe to the same line as your hip, and as you inhale, reaching with the right arm up. And exhaling, reaching with the right arm over towards the left side, trying to keep the upper body in the same line, and at the same time trying to very gently push that right hip over to that right side a little bit more, so that you can create that beautiful side stretch in the side of your torso, the side of your rib cage. As you inhale, coming up, and as you exhale, reaching over to the other side. And then one more time on each side. Exploring these stretches slowly and deeply is really nice, because you start to communicate with your body and feel the limitations, feel when you can healthily push them away a bit, or when you need to stop. So this is eventually a very good thing of yoga. It's a journey. And as you inhale, coming back to center. Now we are going to just bring our hands onto the top of our knees, and as we exhale, we're going to roll back towards the tailbone. Now if you had a prop underneath your sitting bones, you just want to remove it for now for this one. So as you exhale, start to roll back towards your tailbone. You can press the edges of your feet towards the floor as you round through the spine. And as you inhale, coming back, lengthen through the crown of your head. As you exhale, again repeat. And then as you inhale, coming back. Now we're going to do some stretches and some movement with your feet. This is an area that doesn't get too much attention because we are walking in solid shoes, we're walking on solid ground, and then we usually hold a bit of a level of tightness in our feet. So these are really good to get your feet a little bit of movement, a little bit of blood flow. So just bring maybe your hands beside you, and we're going to squeeze our toes in and then release. So let's just practice that. Now you might feel a little bit of cramping happening in the arches of your feet, so let's just give yourself a massage in case you feel it. That's natural, it's kind of typical because, as I said, there is a bit of a tightness in our feet as always. So let's just practice this a few more times. Once you got it, then we're going to inhale and we're going to point our toes and then spread them as wide as you can. Again, be gentle, you can always go as gradual as you need to. If you feel your feet are super tight, then you might need to go really gentle on this one. And an exhalation, squeezing our toes in and then flexing our feet. Inhaling, pointing our toes and spreading our toes nice and wide. Making sure at the same time your upper body is nice and long, so you're not starting to take a hunchback position. Again, if you need prop underneath your sitting bones, feel free to take it. One more time. Exhaling, squeezing your toes in. Inhaling, pointing your toes and spreading them wide. Very nice. And now from here we're going to grab the left foot and bring it over to the right thigh, so that making sure that the ankle is off the thigh, we're going to do some circles with that foot, and then flexing the right foot back so you have a nice and active posture on both of your legs. So this is, I know, a little bit weird one, but we're going to interlace the fingers with our toes. We don't do this many times, I know, and sometimes it can feel a little bit weird, but it's just so nice to get this kind of connection happening between our foot and our hand. So we're going to do some circles with the ankle. Again, making sure your shoulders are not lifted in the meantime. Let's just do 10 circles to each direction. So once you got the 10, and then switch to the opposite side. Let's get some warmth in your feet. I find myself that I'm sitting a bit more times at home than I usually do, so my feet can get really cold, and this is a really good one to get a little bit warmth again into it. And once you got the 10 again, just sweep it down and step it back and then just repeat it on the other side. So you might feel that you have a bit of a level of tightness in your hip. As you can see, I'm also not that open in my hips, so my knee is this high up. That's all right. You might notice if you have nice open hips, you might notice that your knee is going down. That's all good. So just find a position that works for you. You might feel that one side is easier than the other, and when you're ready, start to do the circle. Keep breathing. Once you got the 10, then do it to the opposite side. And then just sweeping it down and bringing the leg back. And now from here, just bring your legs back and coming up onto your hands and knees, wrists underneath your shoulders, knees right underneath your hips, and I just do a few cat and cows. I always do cat and cows because they really beautifully warm up the spine. So we exhale, we press and round through the spine. As we inhale, we lengthen and open through the chest. Paying attention of the transitions between the two, beautifully rolling through vertebrae by vertebrae. And then if you like, you might just want to do some freestyle movement to give some length to your body. And then from here we're going to do some wrist stretch now. So we're going to come up onto the top of our hands one by one. So we're trying to keep the wrist underneath the shoulder and very gradually put the weight back, so you can shift your weight back towards your legs, and once you're ready, very gently coming back to that neutral distribution of your weight. Now if you had any wrist injuries, this may be a pose that you need to skip. Again, if this feels too much, just coming back to normal. If this feels too much, you can also do a stretch like that, with pushing your wrist like that, or the top of your hand like that with the palm of the other hand. So this is a bit of a softer type of stretch. Now if you want to do a bit of a deeper one, then you can walk your wrist a little bit forward. So now you can feel this is really doing some stretches, deep stretches on the wrist. Great. Now just release and gently just shaking your wrists out. Now as we are sitting on our heels, let's just try to curl our toes, and you can come up, lift your knees up and just come up and check in with your toes that each toes are facing forward. And then once that's done, then bring your knees back and then try to sit on your heels, lengthening through the crown. You might want to just close down your eyes, just stay here for a few breaths. This is again a really nice stretch for your feet and your toes, but again, if this feels too much, then just come out of it, and then you can point your toes to kind of counter pose it. If you're okay to stay here, then we're just staying for 2 more breaths in your own breathing rhythm. And then coming down, bring your hands down and then pointing your toes, and then sitting down on your heels again. So this way it's a bit more relaxing. You can relax your toes now. You can even wiggle them a bit to make sure they don't feel tension. Great, and now we are coming into a child's pose position. So let's just gently open our knees, bring our big toes to touch, and as we exhale, we're just walking our hands forward, fingertips facing forward, and we're just bringing our forehead down. Now if your forehead is not touching the mat, you might just want to bring maybe a blanket, a cushion, or a block underneath it. Just take a few breaths here. Maybe you can exhale out again through the mouth. Fully releasing into it. And your next inhalation, gently lifting your head up, and as you exhale, walking your hands over to the left side. We want to give your body a nice side stretch. So once you lower your forehead, if you don't feel that side stretch to happen, this means you need to walk your hands a little bit further to the left. Taking 3 more breaths here. And as you inhale, walking your hands back. As you exhale, walking your hands over to the right. 3 breaths again. And then the next inhalation coming up. Now we're going to flow forward from here. So in the next inhalation, we're going to gently rise up through tabletop, rounding through the spine. And as we exhale, we're going to allow our hips to sink forward. Nice opening. Now if you feel this is a bit uncomfortable in your lower back, then don't allow your hips to go that deep, or you can even lower down in your forearms, yeah? As you inhale, rounding through the spine, rolling back to child's pose. Exhale here. As you inhale, coming forward, again, roll through the spine, opening, and then releasing your hips forward. And then one more time, going back, exhale. Inhale forward. And exhaling, releasing the hips. And as you inhale, coming back to tabletop. So again, wrists underneath, your shoulders, knees underneath your hips. And as you exhale from here, curling your toes and lifting your hips up, downward facing dog. And if your hamstrings are really tight, you can just step your legs wider than hip width apart and bend your knees. We want to make sure that you don't round through the spine. The most important thing is to have length in this pose and still feel comfortable and nice and healthy. You can just breathe here a few times. Maybe you can paddle your feet or paddle your heels down one by one. If that doesn't feel nice, maybe you just want to enjoy yourself in downward dog, just focusing in the still version. And as we exhale, we're coming down onto your knees, sitting down on our heels again, and we're lowering down, bringing our forehead down. You can keep your legs quite close to each other, or you can open them gently. Bring your arms by your side, palms facing up, and just relaxing your forehead down. Making sure that your arms and shoulders are released. So sometimes we hold some tightness in the body and automatically we cannot release it. So when you pay attention to your different body parts, you can actually feel, oh wow, this is still so tight. So now this is the time to actually release through the shoulders, through the arms. No need to hold tension there. Next inhalation, when you're ready, gently rising up. Now we're going to transition into some yin poses. So sitting down on our heels, I'm going to come into a forward fold. It's called Shirshasana. So we're going to stretch the left leg forward and then bring the right sole of your foot close to the inner left thigh. Now, as you notice, my leg is also up here. I cannot put it down, and if you start to feel any tension in your groins and in your hip, you might want to use maybe a folded blanket underneath that thigh to support it, maybe a block or a book or whatever prop you might have available at home. If you have some knee issues, you can also use this blanket and roll it up and support your knee with it. It feels so nice so that you don't have to hold that tension there either. And if you have a bolster, you might want to just place it alongside of your left leg. And then we're going to go down into that forward fold. So if that bolster is a bit too low, you can of course use a cushion instead. You might want to just turn it into like that shape, fold it in two, and then maybe hug it with your arms. You can turn your head to one side down, maybe bring your forehead down. So you have several options. Again, if you don't have a bolster, you might want to use 2 or 3 cushions or some blankets stuck on top of each other. So let's just choose the version that works for you. When you inhale, lengthen through the crown of your head from the base of your spine. And then as you exhale, slowly start to fold forward. Finding the comfortable position that you can take. And if you had your head turned to one side, this is the time to turn it over to the other side. And just remember, yin is really about finding the version that works in your body and allowing the body to release into the stretch. So we can stretch and work on releasing the connective tissues, not just the muscles. If you feel any discomfort, then attend to it, because in that case it won't distract your attention. On your next inhalation, very gently rising up. You're going to do this on the other side when you're ready. So this time stretching the right leg forward. And then bring the left foot to the right inner thigh. Once you've found your position and got your props, getting ready, and as you inhale, lengthen through the crown, and as you exhale, slowly start to walk forward. Sometimes I get asked if it is good to have the back rounding in yin yoga poses, and we are rounding our back when we fold forward and relax the body, but there is a difference between a relaxed type of rounding your back and when you have weight on it and when you actually feel pressure. So if I start my pose from here, from kind of here, from the back of my tailbone, and then I start to fold forward, now I started to feel tension here and here in my low back. So this is not going to be good for me, and it actually causes a lot of shortness in the belly as well, and in the chest and ribs as well. So you want to keep that lengthening. You want to keep lengthening through the crown as we start to fold, and go until as you feel there is space in your spine and then there is no tension in your spine. Once you start to feel tension and actually weight in your low back, then that means you need to elevate your prop, so use another prop to support you. And of course from here, I'm going to relax, and then my spine is actually rounding, but I don't feel any tension. So there is this difference between the two poses, and I still kept space in my belly here. And if you had your head turned to one side, and turn it to the other side. On your next inhalation, very gently coming up, lengthen, and just removing your props if you used any, just keeping them handy for the next one. So in the next one, we're going to use a blanket, and if you have your mat placed on a soft carpet, you don't need to use a blanket. If you have hard floor, then you might want to use a blanket. Just we'll place it about to the middle of the mat, but a little bit wider, so when we slide a leg up, we're going to slide a leg up to the side. It has some space and some nice soft support. So we're going to come up into our hands and knees again, and then walking our knees back. And then as we exhale, we're going to bend our elbows and coming down on our belly. Now from here we're just going to bring your elbows out to the side and then interlace the fingers in front. So try to interlace your fingers so that your fingers are facing down and not out. So your fingers are facing towards the palms of your hands. This way you're creating a bit of a space for your forehead to go. As you inhale, you can lengthen. As you exhale, you can lower your forehead down into your hands. And if that doesn't feel right to your forehead, you might just want to use a cushion or a blanket. And from here, we're just going to slide the right knee up. Slide it as high up as it feels nice. We don't want to create too much of tension. We just want to create a nice that your body can gently release into it. And just allowing your shoulders and arms to relax. No need to hold tension there. Feeling the front of your body to relax into the mat underneath. Melting down. On your next inhalation, gently rising up, coming up on toe. We're coming up into a variation of Sphinx pose. We're keeping the right leg where it is and bringing ourselves up on toe, our forearms. Now, if this creates a bit of too much tension in your hip and your groin, then you can just slide that leg a little bit away from your chest and just finding a position that works for you. Now, if you want to relax your forehead, you might want to relax it on a block in front of you, but just making sure that you don't put weight on your shoulders. You want to keep the shoulders away from your ears, keep length in the body. You can relax your legs, relax your toes, relaxing your hips. And if you still feel tension in the body, that's pretty normal. Just focus on the breath. Sometimes we can feel, the teacher is telling us to relax and I cannot, and then we feel stressed about it. So the point of yoga is to find your way. Is to find a way that works for you. It's a really individual journey, so always feel free to modify pose and always feel free to be honest with yourself and see which poses are you ready for, which do I have to modify, when do I have to stop, when can I expand and go deeper. It's just a communication, and you don't have to kind of be good for a expectation and go for an expectation to I have to reach this state now, or I have to reach that. You can just be honest with yourself and just really accept it, go with the flow and release, relax. And as you exhale now, we're just lowering that leg down and we're lowering the arms down again. We are just repeating this on the other side. So again, either taking a cushion or interlacing your fingers so you can kind of create that nest for your forehead, and then just sliding the left leg up. And then as you exhale, relaxing your forehead down. Making sure you don't hold tension in your shoulders. On your next inhalation, coming up onto your forearms and just repeating this version of Sphinx pose on this side as well. So again, feel free to modify, and so that your body can really enjoy this beautiful stretch. You can close down your eyes and fully listen in, listen to your breath, listen to your body. And then on the next exhalation, gently coming down. And then just bring your hands a little bit lower than your shoulders as you use your arms to come up. And then now we're going to do some restorative poses. So for this one, you're going to need maybe a cushion and a bolster. If you don't have a bolster, don't worry a minute. You can just do this stretch. It will be a little bit of a twisting on your own on the mat, just without bolster as well. It will be still really nice. So for this one, you're going to start with the left hip close to the bolster. So we're going to face to the right side to start with. And then we're going to place the legs in that kind of zigzag position where you have the right knee in the left sole of the foot. And we're going to twist towards that bolster, coming onto your fingertips so that you can just place yourself really nice and close, and then just keep maybe 2 or 3 inches in between your hip and the bolster, so the bolster will not push your hip in. Now if you feel this twisting is a little bit too much, you can just maybe bring your legs facing a little bit closer to the bolster, and you can also bring your legs close together. It's just a little bit of an easier version, so choose a version that works for you. When you inhale, lengthen, and then when you exhale, starting to come down with the belly on that bolster. Now as we're starting on the left side, this is the side of your heart, so if you start to feel any pressure on your heart, then you can directly go to the other side and just relax in the other side. We're going to do the left side a little bit shorter time as the right side anyway, so feel free to just transition to your right side anytime if you feel any pressure in your heart. And then you have the option to keep looking over to the right, or maybe you can give an extra twist for your spine and then look with your head over to the left. Anytime if you feel you need to modify this, feel free to do that. This is meant to be a really nice and relaxing pose, so we really don't want to have tension in the body. You can just relax your forearms beside your body, or maybe you can hug the bolster. Sometimes it feels really nice and cozy to do that. Now if you don't have a bolster, you can do the same, so you just have the floor or your mat, or maybe you can, even if you don't have a bolster, it's a good idea to have a soft blanket on top of your mat so that it will be just a bit softer than your mat. And then you can just go down, either turning your head again to one side. So just choosing your version and just allowing your whole body to relax here. You can check in with yourself. Am I feeling tension somewhere in my body? And if the answer is yes, then just focus on releasing that body part through each exhalation. Making sure your facial muscles are also relaxed. Your jaw and your throat are soft. And your next inhalation, when you're ready, gently rising up. And then you can directly transition to the right side by turning to the right. I'm just going to bring the bolster over here so you can still see the camera and you can still see me, but you can just turn to your right side. So again, now this time bring the right hip close to the bolster. Again, choosing a version with your legs that works for you. As you inhale, lengthen. As you exhale, starting to lower down. Again, maybe turning your head to the same side as your knees, and maybe turning it to the opposite side for extra twist. Again, if there's causing any tension in your neck, you don't want to do this. Very nice. And the next inhalation, when you feel ready, gently coming up. Just removing the bolster, and we're going to go to Shavasana now. Or if you want, you can even use your bolster and lower down onto the bolster if you have one. Just like that, maybe placing a cushion on top so that it supports your head. You can even build it up so that you have a block underneath the head so that it gives a little bit of an elevation, and then you can gently just roll down to a vertebrae onto that bolster and bring your arms out to the side, palms are facing up. Of course, if you cannot build this pose, then just lie down on the mat as you normally would do for Shavasana. Let's just close down your eyes. Any tension you might be feeling, you can sigh out. You can even take a big sigh. Just feeling your body nicely stretched and nicely relaxed. And if your mind is wandering, you can imagine that you're sitting at the bank of a stream and you're just watching the stream flowing in and flowing away. And in that stream, you can imagine you have your thoughts flowing. And you can just watch them as they flow in and then flow away. This way you can witness your thoughts. And you can become the silent witness of your mind. Just watching them flowing in and flowing away, just like watching a movie screen. There's always one or two pictures flowing in, but then they just move away. You can be detached from your thoughts, and you're not making any effort to think. You're just watching your mind. Anytime if you feel your mind gets distracted again, then just bring yourself back into this technique You can also just watch your mind or watch your breath. Just like you watched your mind, you can watch the body breathe. That automatic and natural movement. As you release into silent Shavasana, just allowing the whole body to release and relax, melting down. On your next inhalation, very gently coming back, just gradually starting to be aware of any sounds you can hear, and being aware of your body again. Being aware of your breath again, gradually deepening it through each breath. And just starting to move our body now, maybe wiggling your fingers and toes, and then rolling your wrists and ankles. Just do any kind of stretching that feels nice. Maybe reach with your arms up and your legs back. Maybe you can hug your knees and rock side to side. Just do whatever movement feels nice. And then you can just turn to your right side, coming down from your prop. And just staying there for a breath or two. Just noticing your breath, noticing any feelings. And then when you're ready, gently making your way up to a comfortable seated posture. Sitting in cross-legged on your heels, whichever feels nice, making sure you can sit nice and long, nice and comfortable. And just to finish up, we're going to do some Gauranga mantra, some mantra meditation. So we're going to do Gauranga, 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 so 3 in a row. And just really allow the sound to just come from your heart out. Enjoying the sound vibration that you're creating and enjoying the mantra that you're singing. So I'm just going to start and then you can join me whenever you'd like. Gauranga, Gauranga, Gauranga. 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 Let's just do 3 more. Gauranga, Gauranga, Gauranga. Gauranga, Gauranga, Gauranga. And the last one. Gauranga, Gauranga, Gauranga. And now we can just start to rub our palms together. Once you feel they're nice and hot, you can just blaze into your closed eyes. And maybe just repeat to make them even hotter this time. And then gently bring your hands down in prayer in front of the heart space. And just feeling the gratitude for our practice, we bow our heads and say Namaste, Namaste.